Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Mary again with another video. And today we will be talking about unaccompanied minors. When I say unaccompanied minors, what I mean is if you have a child between the ages of 5 and 14 that will be traveling without an adult, and an adult could be anyone 18 and over. So if your child is traveling alone without an adult 18 or older, they are considered what we call unaccompanied minors. Now, different airlines have different guidelines when it comes to traveling with unaccompanied minors. For example, let's start with Delta Airlines. When your minor is traveling with Delta Airlines, they are required to have certain paperwork. They are they're traveling international. If it's just domestic, they just require a parent or a guardian to drop off the child at the airport, and we're going to get deeper into that. So the first thing I wanted to talk about are the fees. Pretty much every airline that I've looked up has the same fees. It's $150. The difference when it comes to the fees are some airlines allow more children under one fee, others do not. So with Delta Airlines, their fee is $150, but that can cover up to 4 kids. So if you have 4 minors traveling together from point A to point B, that $150 will cover all 4 of those kids, and that's only one way. So if they're returning, it's another $150. United Airlines also charge $150. However, theirs only cover 2 kids. And with American Airlines, I could not find. It just said that it's $150 and it covers more siblings, but it doesn't go deeper into how many kids are allowed to travel with that $150 fee. Next thing I wanted to talk about, not only their fees, but if you have a minor traveling alone, there are things that you want to do prior to going to the airport, things that you need to do while you're at the airport, and then things to do when the child arrives at the final destination. So usually these tickets are booked directly with the airline's representative. Now, there are some airlines that allows you to book it online, which it's crazy to me, but mostly you want to call and book it. I know United Airlines has like a $25 ticketing fee, but I'm pretty sure if you speak to one of their supervisors, you should be able to get away with that. But yes, you want to book that directly over the phone because you do not want to make any mistakes when it comes to your child traveling alone, okay? So the first thing they ask you is who's going to be bringing that child to the airport. They will need first name, last name, phone number, and home address exactly as it is on the government issued ID. Because the person that's going to be dropping that child off is going to need to present their ID at the airport just to make sure, hey, you know, this is not a trafficking situation. This child is traveling with a parent or legal guardian, or at least they're dropping them off, I mean. And same information is going to be required for the person that's picking up that child on the other end. So just make sure you have all that information before you give them a call. Now, minors between the ages of 5 and 14, it is required that they enroll in the unaccompanied minor program. Unfortunately, there is no way around that. Because they need someone to be with that child at all times. So when you drop off your child, you are required to stay with them until that plane actually takes off. That's just in case if that flight gets canceled, if that flight gets delayed, your child is not wandering around the airport. They need you to stay with them. They will actually, most airlines will give you like a void pass. It's a ticket per se, but it says void on it. That way you can use that to go through security into the gate with your child and just sit there and wait until that plane actually takes off, and then you can leave. Now, if there are any connections, the airline's employee will be responsible for your child for those connections. So once they arrive at that connection point, they have lounges where they can put the children. They have books, maybe they could play movies for them just to pass that time until their next flight is due out. That's for even if it's more than one connection, which most airlines do not allow multiple connections. When it comes to unaccompanied minors traveling, it's just one connection or a straight shot flight from point A to point B. But yes, they will be responsible for the minor from when you actually leave them at the airport until they get to their final destination. And when they get to their final destination, that person that's listed on that ticket to pick them up is also going to need to present themselves at the airport, give their ID. Once they validate that this is the person that's supposed to be picking up the minor, then they will give them a void pass to go to the gate and pick them up as well. So it's Pretty easy. I know the airlines, they take it very seriously. I can tell you two things that the airlines take the most, well, let's say three. The first thing is unaccompanied minors. Second thing is disabled passengers. And then the third thing is security. So they do take these pretty seriously. So I would say if your minor child is traveling, there's a minimal chance that anything will happen because they know where that child is at all times. They have someone with that child at all times. Due to COVID, I did go to multiple airlines website to see what the restrictions are when it comes to unaccompanied minors. I know domestically there are no restrictions on any airline currently. I could not find any information. Well, I did find information on Delta Airlines. They do have an embargo currently set for minors traveling international. They're not allowed to travel internationally until April 1st of 2021. That's when they're thinking of going ahead and lifting that restriction. But currently, unaccompanied minors are not allowed to travel internationally on Delta Airlines. But I could not validate that same information with American Airlines or United Airlines. Also, staying with COVID, I know most minors are not required to wear a mask. But if they're at an age where they can wear a mask for their safety and other passenger safety as well, if they cannot wear that mask for whatever reason, they are still able to fly. The only thing is the airlines are requiring they go through a process, like a pre-clearance process, to make sure that they do not have the virus or whatnot, and that's done at check-in. I believe, I don't think they're tested. It's just that questions they're asked, I guess. Have you been close to anyone with the virus? You know, have you flown internationally recently? Things like that. But I don't think they would be testing them there at the airport. But just make sure you give yourself enough time when you are, when your minor child is traveling and cannot wear a mask, because there is a pre-clearance process they have to go through that may take time. So with that said, do not go to the airport an hour before your flight, because that could mean you missing your flight or your child missing their flight. As some airlines are allowing international travel, again, we hopefully will get to some kind of normalcy in the future. With that said, when your child is traveling internationally alone, some countries do require that the unaccompanied minor have a letter from a parent or a guardian stating that they allowed them to travel overseas, and that letter needs to be signed and dated by both parents, and it needs to be notarized. Now, I was told once before that a signature from one parent is good enough, but I later found out that that's actually not accurate. That is only if one parent has full custody of that child. In that case, yes, that one parent's signature notarized will work for your child to travel internationally. But if both parents are in the picture, both parents do need to sign that paperwork stating they allowed that minor to travel internationally. Again, both parents need to sign and have it notarized. So call the airline, see what their requirements are, because every airline is different. Alright guys, this is what I had for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.